I'll just get straight into it. So first of all, thank you everyone for taking your time out of your day to come and listen to my discussion on data and insights and how they can help you with your awards preparation. Everything I present today will be available, plus additional slides, which I have with notes, etc. So don't feel as though you have to take notes while I'm speaking. You'll get all the information afterwards. Okay. So today we're just going to have a look at, we're going to have an introduction. We're going to talk about what is data, what are insights, the importance of data and insights. Then we're going to have a look at a case study. This is something I made up. So hopefully you'll get some really good examples of how to help yourself when you're preparing an awards submission. And then we're going to look at data sources, where to find the data, and then key learnings. So let's start. So first of all, my name is Peter Reid and I work for the South Australian Tourism Commission. My background is I've worked here for over 10 years as a commercial analyst. And prior to working here, I've worked for some other companies, for example, Sony and Vodafone and a couple of places like that prior to working here. So my background has always been around data and insights and all that stuff. A really important part of my role at the moment is transforming raw data into actual insights. I'm always looking to find new data sources, to find new insights to help make informed decisions. The last time I presented this presentation, there were other people also presenting after me who were judges and had been judging submissions. And it's really good to see that what I discussed in this presentation today is actually really beneficial and what the judges kind of look for when they're looking at submissions. So it just made me feel a lot better knowing that what I'm actually sending out to you guys or giving you information on is actually useful and helpful. And as I said before, all the slides have further information and we'll send these to you guys once the presentation's finished. Okay, so first of all, data. Data is a collection of raw facts, figures, or information that can be analysed to generate insights and support decision making. Whereas insights are meaningful conclusions drawn from the data. They reveal patterns, trends, or relationships to guide your decision making. Data is great, but it's what you do with the data that's really important. Insights need to go beyond just the raw data. They need to reveal the underlying patterns and trends that may not be, obviously visible. Insights help inform decisions, drive strategic actions, and provide a competitive advantage to your business. Insights go beyond just presenting the facts. They actually explain the why, the why behind the data, and provide actionable recommendations. I suppose you'll give you an example of this. I had someone ring me the other day and they were saying, we're looking at putting a hotel in the Barossa. Can you just provide me some data around what's going on? And that's great. I could send them data. So I could go into the International Visitor Survey or the National Visitor Survey and I could just download the data and send it off to them. But it's kind of meaningless, like if I just send the data. So what I did do was I got some time series information around, where international visitors and domestic visitors have been staying in the Barossa over an extended period of time from 2005 through to 2025. And then I cut it by, what accommodation they're staying in. So then I could go back to them and say, okay, here are the visitor numbers for the Barossa, and here's where they like to stay. Back in 2015, they like to stay in hotels. And now in 2025, they like to stay in Airbnbs, etc., that kind of stuff. So it's just a really good example of showing them, what data, more than just the data. It's actually giving them, insights into what the actual data says. So I think it's really important to understand that. Okay, so data displays the job you're doing. It showcases your business. Data and insights play a pivotal role in enhancing your tourism award submission. They provide strong evidence to show the success and impact of your tourism business on the local community, the region, and the state, and then even the whole of Australia. I'll continue throughout this whole presentation to talk about how important it is to show not just what's going on in your business, but also what you're providing to the community. The judges love that kind of stuff. They love when you can talk more than just about your business and what extra benefits you're providing to the local community. Okay, so if I'm doing too quickly, just tell me to slow down. But what we'll do now is we'll have a look at why data and insights are important, and we'll go through each of these 8, and I'll just give you a bit of an understanding of how I see them as being important. So the first one is show evidence of success. Data and insights show evidence of success. Data such as visitor numbers, revenue growth, customer satisfaction, and repeat visit rates can serve as solid evidence of your business success and effectiveness. This helps make your submission more convincing. Data allows you to move beyond simply stating that you're successful. You can demonstrate your achievements with concrete numbers, such as the increase in visitor numbers, revenue growth, occupancy rates, website traffic, social media engagement, positive customer feedback scores, or reduction in environmental impacts. For marketing campaigns or new initiatives, data can showcase your return on investment, providing the effectiveness of your strategies and justifying the efforts you put in. Data can help you compare your performance against previous years or even industry averages, highlighting areas of significant improvements where you've outperformed. The second one here is showcasing unique selling points. Data and insights allow you to showcase, what's your unique thing for your business. Data can highlight what sets you apart from your competitors. For instance, metrics on unique experiences offered, high ratings on specific aspects of service, or awards recognitions received can be really compelling. Use this data to show how good you are, how good your business is, and how good what you're doing is. The next one is impact measurement. So when you're looking at impact measurement, data and insights allow impact measurement. Insights into economic, social, and environmental impact of your business on the local community can be crucial. And I mentioned this above, how important it is for when you're putting your submissions in. Data and job creation, contribution to the local economy, and how many people you employ in the economy, and sustainable practices can illustrate the broader impact just beyond your actual financial success. As I said, I see this as really important, not only your success, but how this is flowing into the local community. And as I said, and I keep to say, is that judges really love this kind of stuff. The next one is, customer insights. Data you get from customer insights, customer feedback and testimonials, along with ratings from platforms like TripAdvisor or Google Reviews can provide qualitative data that supports your submission. I know that every time I look at a business, I go and I look at, their Google Reviews just to understand what they're like and how they're doing. High ratings and positive reviews can be powerful indicators of quality and customer satisfaction. Make sure you have this set up and then use this data to showcase your business and what you're doing. Trend analysis. Using data to show how your business adapts to and anticipates tourism trends can demonstrate innovation and forward thinking. As I talked about above, the hotel example, I provided a time series over a period of time, and it showed the trend from 2005 through to 2025, showing how different sources of accommodation have changed at that time. And then when you're looking at accommodation, you can see what best suits what you're looking to do within the region. This could include data on how businesses have responded to changes in travel behaviour, technology adoptions, or sustainable trends. Number 6 is operational excellence. Insights into operational efficiencies, staff training, and service improvements backed by data can show your business commitment to excellent and continuous improvement. I know that when COVID came across in 2020, numerous hotels within Adelaide put their staff through extensive training whilst travel had stopped. What a great idea, a chance to upskill your staff. I know that it wasn't a great time, but sometimes you need to make the best out of bad times. And what they did was, what they did was they actually just trained their staff and upskilled them to make them better when we came out of the COVID side of things. Point 7 is around visual impact. When you're doing presentations, when you're doing submissions, graphs, charts, and infographics derived from the data can make a submission more visually appealing and easier to understand, helping to highlight key points effectively. when I do presentations, I love to put a graph on the page because they're pretty easy to understand and visually great. And what you can do is with that graph, you can add a couple little points just to give you a bit more insight into what the actual graph says, if it's not really easy to see from the actual graph. A pie chart breaking down the age of your visitors, who your key audience are. And the last one is strategic vision. Data-driven insights can help you articulate a clear strategic vision for the future, showing how your business plans to continue success and address future challenges. Data-driven forecasts can demonstrate future growth potential or strategic plans, reassuring the award committee of your business' long-term viability and innovation in tourism. Judges love it. Forward-thinking strategic plans. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 3 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? Just showing that you have a future and you're looking towards the future to grow your business. Data and insights transform a tourism award submission from a descriptive narrative into a compelling and evidence-based case for recognition. Data provides the tangible proof of your achievements, demonstrates your understanding of the industry, and ultimately increases your chance of success. I personally think data is the backbone of your submission, providing the structure and support for your claims. Without it, your submission will lack persuasive power, need to stand out to the judges. Okay, so what I've done is I've gone through and I've got an example of just a business. It's not a real life situation. It's just something I put together, and it's around Greenhaven Eco Resort. The plan here is to look at different sources of data that they have and how they have used this data to provide insights into business and its positive effect on the local community. As I said, my example is Greenhaven Eco Resort, and their award they're looking for is the best sustainable tourism business. Okay, so first of all, what we'll look at is visitor numbers and demographics. So the data, over the past year, the resort has welcomed 15,000 visitors. This is a 20% increase from the previous year. The demographic data shows a diverse visitor base broken down by those from within the state, those from outside of the state, and those from overseas. The data shows there was a 30% increase in international visitors. So this is 19 percentage points higher than the state and national average increase of 11%. To continue this, Greenhaven are looking at further refining their marketing activities to maintain this positive momentum. The data is sourced from visitor bookings details and visitor surveys. The insight here is the growth in visitor numbers, especially international tourists, demonstrates the resort's expanding appeal and market research. Further on from this, you could use TRA data, Tourism Research Australia data, where you can get the average spend, and this could help you work out, how much they're spending in the overall region. You could also look at data from the regional profiles that are up on the tourism websites that provides insights into the average spend of visitors, also offering a clearer understanding of the overall expenditure of these visitors within a region. Next one for Greenhaven Eco Resort, economic contribution. So the data, the resort contributes $1 million to the local economy through employment, sourcing local products, and supporting community projects. Additionally, 80% of the staff were local residents. This can be found by looking at your expenses or your payroll. How much do you pay your staff? Where and how much do they spend on how much do you spend on local projects? Provide examples of how you are helping the local community, e.g., revegetation of native plants. What agreements do you have with other businesses within close proximity? Example, the local distillery, the local bakery. The insight here is that data emphasises the resort's positive impact on the local community and its role in prompting the local culture and economy. Every time I think of this side of things, like, the local community, I think of an example where a lady presented a few years ago to me, and she presented about the Lake House in Daylesford in regional Victoria. The Lake House was one of the first high-end destination-style hospitality offerings in Daylesford in regional Victoria. And what it did was it helped grow the region by sourcing the majority of what it needed from within the region and employing most of the people who work for them from within the region. The lake house contributed to the community by creating a destination tourism marketing, building local food and producer ecosystem. As I said, generating jobs and new businesses. Lifting the quality and brand of the region, and also on top of that, attracting investment and repeat visitation. So it shows you how one business helped grow a whole area by sourcing from within the region. Okay, next one is trend analysis. Data. Analysing booking trends showed a significant increase in interest in eco-friendly accommodation, with a 25% rise in bookings for the resort's eco-villas. Looking at your booking data, see what other insights you can gain. As per Tourism Australia's Future of Demand report, we are aware there is a growing demand for sustainable travel options. Tourists are seeking accommodation that minimises their carbon footprint and supports eco-friendly practices. This was highlighted in the 2025 Regional Visitor Strategy and the Austrade's National Sustainability Framework. I also think it's really important within your submission is to also not just talk about strategies within South Australia, but see how you can work them into national strategies. Show that you are considering the bigger picture. As I said, the bigger picture: Australia, South Australia, your own region. It's good to show a bit more than just that. The insight. The trend analysis indicated a growing market for sustainable tourism products, positioning the resort as a leader in this niche. Greenhaven Eco Resort and sustainability initiatives. This is so important in the world we live in today, and a really important part of your submission. People are really looking for this when they stay somewhere. Sustainability initiatives. The data. Greenhaven Eco Resort planted 5,000 trees as a part of reforestation project and operated a zero waste policy, successfully diverting 90% of its waste from landfills. This is a great example of how data shows the positive impact on the environment and a big positive within a submission. Insight. These initiatives demonstrate the resort's proactive approach to environmental stewardship and its leadership in sustainability. Greenhaven Eco Resort. Environmental impact. Data. The resort implemented sustainable practices resulting in a 40% reduction in energy consumption and a 50% reduction in water use per guest compared to traditional resorts. Information gathered by analysing your data on energy use. The insight here, these metrics showcase the resort's commitment to sustainability and its effectiveness in reducing environmental impact. Number 6, guest satisfaction. The data. Guest satisfaction surveys indicate a 95% overall satisfaction rate, with 90% of guests rating their experience as excellent. Online reviews on platforms like TripAdvisor average 4.8 stars. This data can be gained by customer surveys, along with analysis of Google Review or TripAdvisor review. Set up an account where you can monitor this data and, if need, respond to reviews. Insight. High satisfaction rates and positive reviews highlighted the exceptional guest experience and service quality provided by the resort. Greenhaven Eco Resort. Marketing. Data. The majority of guests we have seen are aged between 35 and 45 and are active on social media. Based on the Arrival research paper in 2024, we know that 74% of travellers use social media as part of their research, consideration and booking. As a response to improve direct bookings and ensure we are adapting our marketing to the changing demographics, we have to focus on developing our social media channels through new content and improved strategies. As a result, Greenhaven increased their social media channels by 33% over the last financial year. This included 125,000 more Instagram followers, 40,500 Facebook likes, and they've also set up a TikTok with videos that have generated over 3 million views. As we have limited marketing budget, we have focused our resources on marketing budget to leverage direct-to-consumer marketing channels. As a result, have seen an increase of 15% in direct bookings. Data from social media channels. The insight, understanding the changing visitor needs and investing in new content or developing new social media channels to entice your target market. Social media, analytics, platforms like Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, they offer analytic programs where you can actually go in and understand engagement, your audit or audience demographics, and related travel information. Great ways to get a bit of a better understanding. Okay, so let's just sum it up now. Again, this is just a pretty quick, small case study that I put together, so it's not too extensive, but it kind of gives you a rough idea of what you can use data-wise and the insights you get, and how you could probably put them towards your business. So submission highlights, narrative. The submission included a compelling narrative that wove together the quantitative and qualitative data, telling the story of Greenhaven Eco Resorts' journey towards sustainability, exceptional guest experience, and community impact. Visuals. The submission featured infographics, charts, testimonials to make the data easily digestible and visually appealing. For example, a bar chart illustrated the reduction in energy and water usage, and a map showed the international and visitor distribution. Future plans. Data-driven insights were used to outline future sustainability goals, such as achieving carbon neutrality within the next 5 years, reinforcing the resort's long-term commitment to sustainable tourism. Greenhaven Eco Resort won the Best Tourism Business Award, Best Sustainable Tourism Business Award, The judges praised the resort for its clear, data-backed demonstration of success, commitment to sustainability, and positive community impact. The comprehensive use of data and insights made the submission stand out, showcasing the resort as a model for sustainable tourism practices. What a fantastic result. So I hope that's given you just a really good understanding of, as I said, how data can help your submission. Now I'm just going to go in and just have a little bit of a look at data sources, like what data sources may potentially be within your business. So as you can see here, data you have within your business. You can look at payroll data. You can look at booking data, how that changes over time. Where your visitors come from. Are they interstate? Are they international? Are they within the state? Understand your guests. We talked about Google reviews, satisfaction reviews, that kind of stuff. Understanding what feedback you're getting from there. Digital reviews, Google reviews, TripAdvisor. You can look at accommodation data through your booking systems, STR, AirDNA. You can get data from them. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, as we talked about before. Understand your local community, how you fit in, and what your benefit is to community. You can also look at industry associations, what data you can get from the Caravan and Camping Association. You can find research papers, regional and state tourism strategies, and then state tourism data overall. When considering data sources for a tourism board submission, I think you need to prioritise official and reputable sources. Government agencies and established industry bodies are generally considered reliable. Relevant data, ensure the data directly supports your claim and addresses the award criteria. Often you see people who put submissions in, they put so much data and it actually doesn't relate to what they're trying to get to with their submissions. So I think in some ways it's you just got to make sure your data is relevant. Up-to-date information, use the most recent data available to reflect current performance. Clear presentation. Present your data in easy to understand formats. As I said before, charts, tables, graphs. Proper citation. Always acknowledge your source of data, where you got it from, where it came from. By leveraging a combination of these data sources, you can build a compelling and evidence-based submission for your tourism award. Remember to tailor the data selection to the specific category and criteria of the award you're looking at. Okay, so now we're going to have a look at potential data from with your business, and just gives you a bit more examples of how we're going. If I am running over time, please tell me, and I'll move through it quickly. So first of all, operational data. You've got occupancy rates, monthly and seasonal occupancy rates, average length of stay. I know that from STR you can get comparison sets where you can get into a set of hotels around your area, and you can't specifically look at other hotels, but you can kind of see the average and compare yourself to the average, whether you're above it or whether you're below it. We've got revenue data, your room rates, your revenue per available room, your revenue from other sources like your spa, your restaurant, your tours, energy and water usage, daily, monthly, and annual energy consumption, water usage data, including for irrigation, for guest use, and for laundry. These are all things you can look at. Waste management, amount of waste produce and recycled waste, composting rates, food waste statistics. Another great one. Maintenance and upkeep, frequency and types of maintenance activities, costs associated with sustainable practices and upgrades. And then we can move on to guest data. So, we've already talked about in this presentation demographics, the age, the gender, the nationality, and other demographic details. Is it a first-time visitor? Is it a repeat visitor? Why did they come back? Why? Obviously you've given them good experience first time. Feedback and satisfaction, customer satisfaction scores and reviews, feedback on eco-friendly initiatives and overall experiences. You can learn from this. Engagement, participation rates in eco-friendly activities and tours, uses of resort amenities like solar-powered facilities, eco-friendly transport. Then we move into looking at sustainability data. Your carbon footprint. What are your carbon emissions from operations, guest travel, and activities offsetting initiatives and their impact? So what are you doing to offset what the carbon emissions you're doing so far? Renewable energy usage, portion of energy sourced from renewable sources, data on solar, wind, even hydropower generation. Look at your biodiversity conservation, species monitoring, data and conservation efforts, restoring habitat activities and their outcomes, and bringing back the native fauna and back into your where you are. Certificates and compliance, achievement and maintenance of eco certifications, compliance with environmental regulations and standards. These are all things that, if they fit into your business, into your submission, can really help. And then we can move into community and social impact. As I said before, another really important one, local employment. How many people do you employ that actually live within, close proximity to the site? Training and development programs, what are you training and how are you training your staff, and what benefits are you giving them, that side of things. Community support, investing in local community projects, partnering with local business and suppliers. As I mentioned earlier on, partnering with the local distillery or the local bakery. Guest contributions, donations or contributions to local conservation efforts, volunteer participation in community projects. And then we have a couple more left here. So we'll move on to marketing and sales data. Sorry if I'm going through this quickly. I can see we're kind of moving along for time, but I still think it's really important to have a think about these. And these things here, I'll provide you with all the extra information and all the stuff I've talked about so far. So marketing and sales data, your booking sources, your channels through which bookings are made. Are they direct? Are they through an online travel agent, or are they through travel agents? Your marketing campaign performance, as we discussed before, your return on investment, your marketing trends, analysis of market demand for ecotourism, competitive analysis and benchmarking against your competitors. Like we talked about before with STR, you get into community, you can see how your other hotels are going within the same area. And then lucky last is the financial data. You can look at cost analysis, operating costs and their breakdown, cost savings for sustainable practices we talked about before, going to solar, not using as much electricity. And then we look at investment and returns, your return on investment for eco-friendly upgrades, what your financial performance is over time, how you're going. So these are kind of the key potential data that you can find within your business. You may have other sources, but these are kind of the things I came together with today. Okay, and then if you go to the South Australian Tourism Commission data, to the website, you can see that we have data sources on there. And under our strategies, have our tourism plan, our regional visitor strategies. And then if you look at the insight side of things, we have a fair bit of reporting on international statistics, domestic statistics, regional stats, accommodation stats. So there's a lot of data there you can potentially use to update your submission. We also have a media gallery, which can be really useful because they've got some really great pictures, which potentially you could use to, make your submission look even better. Okay, and then there's also, under the heading we looked at before, you've got the regional profiles. Every region has a profile, and it goes through all these different measurements and like, for example, regional targets, summary of visitation, why you came to the region, was it for holiday, was it for business, when they visited, all that kind of stuff. What's on the Australian Tourism Data Warehouse, how long they stayed for, the age of visitors, all that kind of information that can be really useful as well. Okay, and then these slides are probably not as important, but when you get the presentation, there are links to what we've talked about above, the discussion of the visitor tourism plans, the visit to region sheets, where you can get information on each region. So we'll just kind of move through these a little bit quickly. Again, links to other data sources. I've just included this so it makes it easier for you guys when you want to go and find these data sources instead of having to search around for them. Okay, so the key learnings for me from today, the key takeouts are the strongest tourist submission awards use data to tell a clear, evidence-based story that demonstrates performance, impact, and future potential, not just to report results. Data becomes valuable only when translated into clear, actionable insights. Strong submissions, as we've talked about the whole way through, use data to provide success, not just describe it. Insights should explain trends, drivers, and implications behind the data. Combining the internal and external data strengthens credibility and context. Effective use of data highlights performance, impact, and differentiation. Sustainability and community impact are critical components of a strong story. Clear, visual, and simple presentation significantly improves data impact. The best submissions use data to articulate a forward-looking strategy. These are national awards. When writing your submission, remember that. Remember, it's not just South Australia, it's the whole of Australia. Connect with key South Australian national strategies wherever you can use them, wherever it's relevant to your submission. And that's it, team. So thank you so much for allowing me to talk to you guys today. I hope you got something out of that. Ella's got my details, so if you need any help from me, more than happy if you contact me. So I'll finish up there. Now I'm not 100% sure what we'll do because I'm not sure how Ella's going to work this.
No worries, Peter. I'm not sure if you can hear me or not yet, but if anyone can't hear me, please let me know. But thank you very much to Peter for his presentation today, and really appreciate the time that he's taken out of his day to take us through some of those data and insights. From here, like Peter said, he'll share the slides with me, and I'll pass on to you to have a greater look at, and particularly those links that he's shared directly with you so you don't have to spend time finding them. If you have any questions, again, happy to provide Peter's contact details or forward any questions. If anyone has any questions for Peter now, please feel free to come off mute or chat and just let Peter know that you have a question. Is there anyone who has any questions at the moment? No, that's all right. If you do have a question, feel free to pop it in the chat for Peter. From here, like Peter said, data is a really, really important element of your submission, and it can mean the difference between the gold standard submissions and the submissions that are almost there but maybe missing the statistics or the figures or the insight that are needed. So please keep that in mind and continue to refer back to Peter's presentation today as you move through your awards submission writing. Now, the only thing I wanted to talk to before we finish up is just around our nominee support. So if you have nominated, you'll now have access to our nominee support kit. In there are a series of really handy resources, including an awards overview guide for those who have entered before or for those who haven't. It's a really good way to get your head around how the Tourism Awards works from a larger perspective, and then also for entrants who have entered previously, make sure you're not missing any important information. There's also our entrant submission toolkits as well, which are now available via the nominee support kit. These submission toolkits talk through your submissions question by question and break them down in response guidance, some clear examples, and then also a checklist for you to follow as you work through your submission and you work through each section. So please make sure you go and check that out as well. And then the only other thing I'll add is we do have some Ask the Expert sessions ready for booking. Our I'll share these in my email following this webinar, but we do have some dates in June ready to book with our experts, which are some of our judges who are going to donate some of their time to take on 30-minute sessions with entrants. It's a really great opportunity if you have a really random question or you need some additional advice. It's a great opportunity to hear it from a judge themselves. So please make sure when I send that through, have a look at the dates and see if you'd like to book in a session as well. On that note, are there any questions for Peter? Please feel free to pop them in the chat if there are. Otherwise, I'll look to wrap up. Apologies for the technical difficulties that we had this afternoon, and apologies for the slightly late start. But thank you very much for joining us. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And yes, Peter provided a fantastic case study. Thanks, Jodie. From here, like I said, we'll follow up with some resources. But yeah, if you have any questions, ask away. Otherwise, we'll finish up there. Lovely words of thanks there, Lo. Thank you. All right, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. And yes, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and I'll pass Peter's contact details on as well. Thanks, everyone.